very good morning to the audience here, to the panelists, to our okay, so today we're meeting up today again in the program The A Team. With me today, Rubina is your moderator, and we have our panelists here, a very well-known panelist actually. Our psychologist here, Dr. Fatihah Rahman, and expertise is child psychology. Our Dr. AININ from Hospital of Gleneagles, and we have also Janice, a mother to a 17-year-old student who actually committed suicide in 2015. So, moving forward to our discussion today, the topic of our discussion is the malicious act of Felo De Se. As we all know, Felo De Se is an act of taking one's life without thinking about others' feelings, about they actually take their own life without thinking of others. Yeah, so moving forward to our dear Dr. AININ, could you please tell us a little bit about the act of Felo De Se and the symptoms that one might have about which was suicidal?
Okay. First of all, thank you to Miss Rubina. Thank you, Astro, for this opportunity. Thank you for inviting me and others also. So I really like this question, whereby I think everyone needs to know the signs of the person who might commit suicide in his or her life. So, the person who involves in suicide may face something tough in his or her life that have been disturbing in their mind, that finally could lead them to a negative ending, which is suicide, because they think by committing suicide it can solve the problem, but actually it's not. Okay, so the first sign, actually we can define these people through their actions. When she or he would show their aggressions or self-injurious behavior, that these people would acting out when they get angry or mad, means they extremely emotional when they get angry. So we have to be careful with this type of people, because they can attack anyone that close to him or her. Okay. Besides, they cannot think as a normal person. It does not mean that they are insane, but they are in a subconscious mind. And they will also feel hopelessness when they have a deep feeling of about the future with a little expectation, because they feel his or her life is meaningless, and it does not have a meaning when they live in this world. And other signs that can be seen is through their personality or appearance, whereby they become less concerned about their appearance, they become messy, something like that, that we have to concern about these people. And I think every signs that we can see through their personality or appearance should be taken seriously by from all of us. I think that's all.
Okay, can I ask you, what kind of, you said just now, right, they actually have this self-injury act. Can you give examples of that? What kind of self-injury acts can they do?
Okay, for this type of people, they might prefer to be alone. They don't want to get involved in socialized activities, so they might do self-harm. They might have sharp things or weapon, then they put to hurt themselves with sharp things such as knife and something else.
Right, thank you, Doctor. Moving forward to your psychologist here, what do you think? What is the relationship of these symptoms we have there and the developmental stage in psychology?
First of all, thank you, Ms. Rubina, for the question. It's a very good question because this question is being less talked about and people are not exposed to this type of question and this type of ideology. Now, when we see in the context of this case, there is this thing called the social development, where the act of aggression takes place in the intention of hurting others. So in his case, in this 17-year-old boy, 17-year-old Chinese boy who took his life, he has the intention to hurt others by hurting himself. According to the Erikson stage theory, this student was most likely to develop the sense of guilt and self-withdrawal. This is especially when he felt uncertain of his capabilities in order to answer advanced questions, and when he experienced failure, he eventually developed shame and self-withdrawal. So the sense of confusion and guilt also grew in him, which have resulted to a conflict between a family member and the people around him, and this also affected his self-perception as well. So it is affected negatively in this case. So these stages are very crucial stages for him, and unsuccessful complication of these stages would affect to a unhealthy personality, which and the acquisition of his basic virtues. So also in this student also experienced an identity crisis and confusion because he could not believe, he didn't have the confidence in answering questions. So this thing have led him to reevaluate his life choices and his understanding of the world, and he did not feel a sense of achievement, which affected his value system. Also, when in this context, there is one stage by Erikson, where in the context of learning called cognitive learning. As you know, cognitive learning has its pros and cons. So one of the pros in cognitive learning is students develop problem-solving skills. So as mentioned by Dr. AININ, this student will most likely develop problem-solving skill, but in this context, it is a negative one for this 17 years old Chinese boy. So he only sees killing himself as his way out and as his problem solver to his problems. So another example is that the student that this theory disqualifies emotion. So when this happens, the student tend to disqualify any of his emotion, and he did not consider his family's or people around him emotions as well. This is very saddening if we look at it. And another stage or another post in cognitive learning is improving confidence. But unfortunately, he found the confidence in killing himself. So he couldn't care less about other people. So he chose that path. He chose to kill himself, and which resulted to which affected many people and his his friends as well.
Yeah, I think we have a side. We can actually imagine what happens actually psychologically for the people who actually committed suicide. So now moving back to our Dr. AININ, can you actually tell us what treatments or prevention that you can give to people who actually ought to suicide?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rubina. So I think first of all, family is the most important to get involved in this matter, because among parents, especially siblings and even their closest friends, need to know how to handle this type of people if happens if happen to them. So if the person prefers to be alone, so we cannot leave them alone, and if possible ask for help from friends or any closest family. And if the person keeps a weapon, like I said just now, ask them to return the weapons or sharp things. Do not let him or her to play with the sharp things, because it harms anybody. And if the person is already in a psychiatry treatment, contact her or his doctor to seek for help and guidance. And I want to parents out there, if your children prefer to stay in her room or in his room along the day, there might be something. So do not let them to be alone, and do not let them to keep their feelings or problem alone. If possible, ask them for the problems and share with them. That's all.
Yeah, I believe that we all, as the society, should offer them help to these people, so that this number of cases of disease could be decreased. Okay, so thank you, Dr. AININ. Now we have Miss Janice, the mother to the late 17 years old child who actually killed himself. I feel sorry for you, and I grieve for your loss, but can you actually tell us a little bit about your experience handling him before he died?
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rubina. So firstly, I would like to thank to Astro for inviting me, give me opportunity to clarify and make it clear about my son issue. So as a single mother, I face extreme financial responsibility, and my goal at that time is to serve a better life for him. I give what he wants, but I lack of something. I forget to spend more time with him. So I do care about his academic level, and I know he passed all the examination with flying colors. So for me, he's doing great. Until one day, he's not going out from his room for having dinner with me. So I go to his room, and my pulse stopped beating because I saw my son hanging at the corner of the room. Also, there's a note left that said, "Sorry for not able to make you smile." So that time I realized that I was a failure parent, failure mother. So I just realized, I flashback a week before, he just changes in his eating and sleeping habit. He sleeps too little at night, that I assume he's doing his revision for SPM, he study, and he also eat little dinner and lunch. So at that time, I just only advise him to, "Baby, eat a bit more, please," just like that. So yeah, that's my mistake. I learned my mistake. So for all parents out there, I hope you take care about your child. Give attention to them. Ask them how was your day, and also don't let them hurt you. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you, everyone.
You see, that's a very sad experience we have there with these ones. But I don't think it's right for you to put all the blame to yourself, because you're not the one who is fully responsible here for this acts. But okay, so that's all from us. But can we have any questions from the floor? Yeah.
Sorry. My question is that you mentioned earlier that a lot of people think that suicide is the way to go out of this sort of stress and such, right? But but like, what do you think could be? I mean, where do you think they get the idea that suicide is the way that to release themselves? Like, where do you think this idea actually stems from?
Okay, to answer your question, there are actually many external factors as well as internal factors. We see in this social day and age, where everything is out there in the public, where every act of aggression, every act of not the unusual act where people glorifies suicide, where people think of being suicide is the cool way, is the way of like the way of life in a way. But maybe for this Chinese-year-old boy, he sees that 17-year-old Chinese boy, he sees that as that somehow encourage him to act to commit suicide, and this there are many internal and external factors like I mentioned in the social medias, in the TV, in the television, and things such things like that.
Okay, can we have any more questions?
My question is for the first speaker or the AININ. Alright, so you said that treatment for suicide is that families and friends are important, but a case study by the National Council of Social Studies in Singapore in 2018, very recently, around 300 patients of people who are going through suicide, almost 90% of them don't get this kind of support. They don't, when they try to open up to their parents or friends, they get shut down immediately. They say, "Oh, you're overreacting. Oh, this will pass on." So, besides this, how can you ensure that families and friends can be included as one of the possible treatments? Because based on this study, it shows that if there are some of us as friends and families, they don't even care about people going through suicide.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as for me, I agree from what the audience said just now, but let's focus in our country because it happens in Singapore, right? So I agree for that, but we should think wisely and consciously that however family is everything. As a family, if something happens in your family, you should take the responsibility of it, okay? That's what can I answer.
Any more questions?
Grieving mother, what did you do to help your son? What have you done to help him? Or did you not help him at all?
Okay, thank you for asking. So that's why I said that I learned my mistake. What can I do is only to give advice for parents out there.
No, to your son.
To my son?
Yeah. What have you done in the past before he died?
I do not think, because at that time I really care about having a good financial. So yeah, I'm really sorry and thank you.
You mean you didn't do anything?
Yeah, I did
Well, yeah, like I said, you can't put all the blame to yourself, right? So, okay, so to conclude today's forum, I would like to say that if you are having some kind of suicidal problems or you have the suicidal thoughts to kill yourself, to harm yourself, please reach out for help. And I think your family and friends are always there for you. You can reach out to them, and we also have helplines if you are willing to talk to them. Like we friend this. So yeah, let's meet up again in the next episode of the A team. Thank you.